wouldn't set good with Putin because he's looking at the winter to try to freeze them down. And there are several now floating gas terminals that could furnish natural gas into Europe. So that part for Putin is pretty much gone. And there are the things that we need to do in this country to keep from going to nuclear war is we need to just basically do just common sense stuff, cut down on all of these foreign countries coming in here and buying up things, but somehow not being subject to American law. And I really don't understand that. And China is the worst offender. And that's what, when I mentioned, I said with all of Trump's troubles. You mentioned the other day about the case in Georgia and the RICO thing. Well, that Fannie Willis, she's the district attorney, and I don't know about the Georgia RICO law, but under the federal RICO law, there are no statute of limitations, and people can't bankrupt out of any charges that's brought against them. But I-74 corridor, you're probably aware of that. It was another alternate guns and drugs highway. I-75 and I-95 used to be the two main ones. Well, from that standpoint, if there's somebody down in a county in southern Georgia or western, eastern, whatever, and they happen to stop someone speeding through their county, carrying contraband of some sort, and they find out they're centered in Fulton County, which is Atlanta, or any of the counties around that, by Fannie Willis logic and what's going on now, that district attorney would have the right to bring charges against anybody in one of those counties that was part of that whole drug operation. So I don't, like I said, I'm confused with that whole Atlanta case. I don't know how a district attorney has the right to bring charges in all these other counties. Usually it's just district attorneys that are restricted to their one district. And the other thing is the Big Daddy up there in New York is going on now. The reason that the terrorists attacked the World Trade Center is because that was the world economic capital, so to speak. The World Trade Center was there, the World Bank, the Gold Deposit. There was just a lot of economic activity there. And there are a lot of foreign companies there. And so each of these foreign companies, like if they own something here in the United States, and they're licensed in that charter or whatever you want to say, in New York City or New York State, they're opening up quite a can of worms there because you take, I go back to China, of course, they're the big one. They bought up Smithfield Foods, which is a big pork processing thing. And then they gathered up all the equipment that Smithfield had developed, all the processing equipment, and they took it over to China. It's not in the United States anymore. It hasn't been for some time. But are they, what did they do when they took that equipment out of the United States? Obviously, Smithfield Foods would not be worth as much with older equipment as it would have been with the newer equipment. But have they filed changes? Have they filed any changes? If it's a security registered company, I mean, this thing could go on and on and on and on forever. So the whole thing that's going on right now is basically with Trump and other American companies, they're prosecuting them and paving the way for foreign companies to come in here. So, we need to reverse that process. And of course, that's going to start with elections. And I was watching Lindell TV tonight, and I don't know if Mike Lindell's in Cincinnati or what, but him and somebody in Kentucky, clerk, was having a feud going on, and he has this project to where he wants to be in all the different election points, and he has some sort of a device that will detect if any of the voting machines are on the internet, and that's what him and this Kentucky woman was accused about. Because Kentucky, well, all law says that you can't really hack in on voter machines. And the point he was making is this is not any. We can't get. He can't get any information about voters or anything. The only thing it detects is are the computers online, and that's what they were accused about. And he has a whole project going on to try to change things by the time we get to the election.
2021. Bobby, that was his accusation that there was outside via internet global connections interfering in 2020.
Correct. And they're, they went after him and basically again on a false premise. So, if you can't question an election, which that's part of what the whole thing with Trump was, and you can't operate a business without some sort of, I don't even know what they were talking about there as far as that, because just to kind of give you real quick, there used to be a New York Futures Exchange, and I had a seat on that at one time, and then they came out and it was gone. And then in Chicago, you used to get a seat on the exchange. They were pretty expensive. And then they came out, and I suspect you've seen that show, Trading Places, to where the old timers had seats on exchange and all that stuff. But they changed that. But Chicago changed somewhere along the line, and they went to a stock ownership company, and those seats basically became pretty much worthless, So if you're, and basically every large agricultural corporation had seats on all the exchanges. Well, obviously, then that was not worth what it was before, and that should have been reflected in the company stock, but I don't think it ever was for any company. So that when I look at Trump, what do you always hear about real estate? Location, location, location. And I don't know how in the world they can have any valuation, any sensible valuation in that court better than what all the professionals in the appraisal companies, the insurance companies, the banks, all of it. I mean, I don't even, that is one case that totally mystifies me, other than I know that the effect is going to be that they're going to destroy, just like they destroyed, Lindell there. I mean, he's still advertising on your show, but they pretty much destroyed his business. Yeah. He had to sell off a lot of equipment,
and he's still facing a I don't know how many million or $1 billion lawsuit from Dominion. To my knowledge, you remember Fox News settled. His case is still forthcoming, I do believe. We'll see where that goes. Hey, we paused there briefly on a Tuesday morning. The Steve Summers Overnight Drive.
At Hotshot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems. For example,
turbochargers full time.
Turbochargers are designed to increase the efficiency and power of the diesel engine by forcing compressed air into the combustion chamber. Temperatures inside the turbo can reach upwards of 400 degrees. The oil meant to lubricate the bearings will burn, leaving behind a sticky residue called stiction. The turbo's ability to spool up quickly is hindered because the stiction-covered bearings can't spin properly. Hotshot Secret Stiction Eliminator cleans the stiction from turbo bearings, reducing spool time, and builds maximum boost sooner in the RPM range. Stiction Eliminator is a synthetic cleaner plus nano lubricant that contains no harmful solvents and is formulated to be left in the engine to safely dissolve stiction for thousands of miles. It works as you drive.
Hotshot Secret Stiction Eliminator. Available at truck stops, Tractor Supply, O'Reilly's Auto Parts, and online at HotShotSecret.com. Hotshot Secret. Powered by science.
About 25% of your trucking business revenue goes to paying for fuel. Most fleet cards promise big discounts, but charge hefty fees and limit where you can fuel up. Well, it's time for a change. The Bobtail Zero MasterCard is the zero-fee way to save money and control your fuel spending. Bobtail Zero charges nothing in fees and can be used anywhere MasterCard is accepted. Approval can take just minutes. Apply now at bobtail.com and take back control of your business. The Bobtail Zero MasterCard is issued by Bancorp Bank N.A. MasterCard and the Circles design are registered trademarks of MasterCard International Incorporated.